Let's go back to 1933, a pivotal year in history when Saudi Arabia and the Standard Oil Company of California inked a concession agreement. This agreement was a helper to manage the oil exploration venture in the vast Saudi desert, which began its search in 1935. Join us today on Business Tales to discover the story behind building the world's largest oil company. After 2 years of no significant discoveries, Sokol executives were uncertain about their decision. They sought advice from their chief geologist, Max Steinecke, who advised them to continue drilling, causing tension and determination among the team. Steinecke's years of fieldwork were instrumental in their decision. Finally, in 1938, their persistence paid off. Dammam No. 7, affectionately dubbed the Prosperity Well, began gushing oil. This moment was like striking gold, marking the dawn of a new era for Saudi Arabia and the oil industry. Fast forward to the late 1940s. Aramco, the newly renamed Arabian American Oil Company, was on the rise, becoming synonymous with energy production in Saudi Arabia. By 1949, they were producing 500,000 barrels of oil per day. Can you imagine the logistics and infrastructure required to handle that much oil? To transport this vast amount of oil, they built the Trans-Arabian Pipeline in 1950, stretching 1,012 kilometers. This pipeline connected eastern Saudi Arabia to the Mediterranean Sea, drastically cutting down the time and cost of exporting oil to Europe. It was a game changer. In 1951, Aramco struck oil again, this time in the shallow waters of the Arabian Gulf. The Safaniya field turned out to be the world's largest offshore oil field. By 1958, Aramco's annual crude oil production surpassed 1 million barrels. The numbers were mind-boggling. The 1960s were a decade of milestones for Aramco. By 1962, their cumulative crude oil production hit a staggering 5 billion barrels. Just think about that for a moment. 5 billion barrels. By 1971, the shipments of crude oil and petroleum products from the Ras Tanura Marine Terminal exceeded 1 billion barrels in a single year for the first time. This wasn't just an oil company, it was a behemoth. In the 1970s, Aramco became a symbol of Saudi Arabian pride and heritage, with the Saudi government acquiring a 25% stake in 1973, increasing to 60% the following year, and eventually reaching 100% by 1980. In 1984, His Excellency Ali Al Naimi became the first Saudi president and CEO, marking a significant milestone in the history of the Saudi Arabian Oil Company, which was officially renamed Saudi Aramco in 1988. In the 1990s, Aramco expanded globally, investing in Korea's Sangyong Oil Refining Company, the Philippines' Petron Corporation, and Greece's Motor Oil Corinth Refineries SA, with a 35% interest in Korea in 1991, 40% in the Philippines in 1994, and a 50% stake in 1996. Aramco was no longer just a Saudi or even a Middle Eastern company. They had their eyes set on the global stage, representing the 3 major energy markets: Asia, Europe, and North America. Aramco developed the Parallel Oil-Water-Gas Reservoir Simulator in 1997, revolutionizing reservoir performance prediction with its high-resolution capabilities. Aramco, established in 2000, developed a global R&D center in Dhahran. They introduced gigapores and terapores in 2010, leading to trillion-cell reservoir simulations. Aramco diversified into non-metallic and crude-to-chemicals sectors, focusing on efficiency and emissions reduction. They aim to transform hydrocarbons for Saudi Arabia, expanding globally and owning North America's largest crude oil refinery in 2017. They continued to extend their international ties, acquiring interests in refining companies in Korea, the Philippines, and Greece. Their presence in the global energy market was solidified. Aramco, a global chemical company, raised $25.6 billion in its IPO in 2019, surpassing Alibaba's record. In 2020, they acquired 70% of SABIC, investing in energy efficiency and environmental solutions. Despite a 50% drop in 2020 net income due to COVID-19, Aramco managed a tanker attack, In 2021, they secured a China energy deal, and by 2022, oil prices surged to $95 per barrel, surpassing Apple's. In 2023, they expanded with acquisitions and record profits. So, what's next for Saudi Aramco? They're not just looking at oil anymore. They're diversifying and innovating, aiming to achieve net zero carbon emissions from their wholly owned operations by 2060. So that's the wrap-up on how the world's largest oil company was built. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Business Tale.